Chile, 1962. A long, thin country, pressed between the Andes and the Pacific, they had never hosted anything like this. Never stood at the center of the football world when the bigger nations backed out. When Europe said no, Chile said yes. A stadium rose from the dust. Workers hauled steel and concrete under a burning sun. The mountains watched, and a nation held its breath. They did not just want to host a World Cup, they wanted to prove they belonged. They built it themselves. Brick by brick, under a burning Chilean sun, the Estadio Nacional rose from nothing, workers on scaffolding, steel beams against a clear blue sky, the Andes standing silent behind them. They did not have the wealth of Europe, they did not have the infrastructure, but they had something else, belief. They actually believed this could be their moment. A small country at the edge of the world, about to host the biggest show in football. Then Italy arrived, and something broke. It was supposed to be a football match. Group stage, Chile versus Italy, but from the first whistle, it was war, kicks that had nothing to do with the ball, punches thrown in broad daylight. The referee lost control, dust rising from the pitch, players on the ground. The world watched in disbelief. The Italian press called it a disgrace. The Chilean press called it justice. They called it the Battle of Santiago, and the name stuck. It is still the most violent match in World Cup history. The violence did not stop. It got worse. Police officers had to enter the field, not once, twice. Armed men in uniform, separating footballers. The referee pulled out red cards, 2 Italian players sent off. Italy finished with 9 men. Chile won the match, 2-0, but nobody talked about the score. The pictures told a different story, men bleeding on the pitch. A World Cup match that looked like a street fight. The Battle of Santiago. It was never about the football. Amidst the chaos, Brazil arrived, the defending champions, yellow jerseys gleaming under a warm Chilean sun. Pelé stepped off the plane, 21 years old, already a world champion. Everyone knew what he could do, everyone expected something special. The Samba Kings were here, and for a moment, the ugliness of Santiago faded into the background. Brazil was going to play beautiful football. That was the promise. That was the weight on their shoulders. Then it happened. Pelé went down, same leg, the one that had troubled him since '58. The physios rushed onto the pitch. Teammates gathered around him, faces full of fear. He tried to get up. He could not. Brazil's best player, the greatest footballer on earth. Done. For the rest of the tournament, in that single moment, everything changed. The defending champions had just lost their king. Now someone else would have to carry them. With Pelé gone, they turned to a quiet man. Amarildo. He had been sitting on the bench, watching, waiting. Nobody in Brazil expected much from him, but when they needed goals, when they needed someone to step into the impossible, he delivered, match after match. He kept scoring, kept Brazil alive in the tournament. The crowds started chanting his name. People whispered it in the streets. The new Pelé. It was a lot to put on one man, but Amarildo did not flinch. He just kept putting the ball in the net. But it was not just Amarildo, there was another. Garrincha, the man with the bent legs, the joy of the people when he ran at defenders. They froze, his body went one way. The ball went the other, sometimes even he did not know which. He just smiled and danced past them, that joy, that freedom. It made everyone forget how ugly things had been. Garrincha carried Brazil on his shoulders, and he did it laughing. He was not supposed to be a footballer at all, but he became the best in the world. And then came the final. Brazil against Czechoslovakia, a packed stadium in Santiago, golden afternoon light flooding the pitch. Brazil fell behind early, 1 goal down. The champions were losing, but they did not panic. They had been through worse. Amarildo scored the equalizer, then Zito put them ahead. Then Vava made it 3 goals, 1 single half. The yellow jerseys poured onto the pitch. Brazil were champions again. They had lost the best player in the world. And still, they found a way. They had lost Pelé, the greatest player in the world. Most people wrote them off. Most teams would have collapsed under that weight. But this Brazil did not. Amarildo stepped up from the bench. Garrincha danced past everyone, and together they did something remarkable. They became champions anyway, not because they were perfect, Not because it was easy, because they refused to break. That is the story of Chile, the Battle of Santiago, the team that found a way. Positive Plays HQ, The World Cup Story. Episode 7. Next time, England, 1966. The Three Lions finally roar, a World Cup won on home soil. Coming soon. Subscribe to Positive Plays HQ, turn on notifications. The story continues.